Juvenile Justice System, created as a way to help kids, to rehabilitate them so that they'd be able to re-enter society as better people. Created on the basis that it was not too late to turn kids' lives around. For years, though, kids were abused every day in facilities that severely lacked funding. Guards were not trained to deal with the children respectfully and often resorted to violence and neglect. Instead of helping troubled kids change for the better, juvenile detention facilities hurt these kids and their chances for bright futures. In many facilities, staff use excessive force to restrain youth for minor infractions, such as slamming doors and talking back. Kids with special needs got no appropriate treatment and were abused by staff who lacked understanding. In 2010, it was determined that 80% of the boys sentenced to life without parole in 3 states had been sexually abused by at least one adult prisoner. Most importantly, compared with kids with a similar history of bad behavior, those who entered the juvenile justice system were nearly 7 times more likely to be arrested for crimes as adults. For years, no one did anything about this terrible situation, until one day a group of 5 students in a class at the Maimonides school decided to take action.
We were researching the juvenile justice system for a class about social justice, and we were horrified by the situation we discovered. We couldn't believe the terrible conditions that these kids were living in, and we knew we had to do something about it.
The 5 students of this small Jewish day school in Massachusetts set out to right a wrong they saw in this world.
We identified wardens as the key sources for potential change. We sought ways in which they could create a system that would lead to the use of only non-violent, rehabilitative punishments.
They spent hours brainstorming possible ideas for the solution before they narrowed it down to a few options that they felt could work very well. The ideas they produced included creation of a standardized, professionally created rulebook outlining punishments that would be used within the system, implementation of a zero-tolerance policy for any form of abuse by guards, regardless of their rank or seniority, hiring of specific qualified facility disciplinarians outside of the bureaucracy found within many prisons, creation of a department to track the effectiveness of specific punishments in rehabilitation of juveniles, giving juveniles privileges such as the ability to work outside the prison, and revoking these rights as a means of punishment. They focused on what they felt would determine the strength of a possible solution, and came up with a list of criteria, including cost-effectiveness, effectiveness in solving the overall problem, humaneness, feasibility for implementation, PR responses, and safety for the guards.
We evaluated each idea based on our criteria, eventually narrowed our solutions down. We feared that a zero-tolerance policy might put our guards in unsafe situations where they were hesitant to use necessary force. We also determined that hiring a facility disciplinarian would not be cost-effective and that there would be no way to tell if this person was actually helpful. We also concluded that close monitoring of the effectiveness of punishment was not feasible because we'd never know if one punishment was more effective than the other.
Out of our original ideas, we selected 2 that we were now certain would work. We wanted a group of experts in juvenile psychology and law to convene. They would create standardized rulebooks that dictated the exact guard responses and punishments based on actions of kids, eliminating the poor judgment of some guards. While this would cost a lot once, it would, in theory, be a one-time cost.
We also felt that it would both be beneficial and enjoyable for the kids to be able to do community service outside of the facilities as a way to earn money for themselves. Allowing these privileges could only help because they provided an opportunity for the humane yet harsh punishment of taking these privileges away.
With our plan clearly spelled out, we took our ideas to the Department of Juvenile Justice in Massachusetts. After a while, we finally got a meeting with the head of the department and successfully lobbied for the implementation of the plan we called simply Justice.
Juvenile detention centers saw immediate improvement in the lifestyles and safety of their detainees. As time progressed, they also began to see a clear decline in the recidivism rates of their facilities. Instead of being scarred and disturbed by their experiences under the care of the state, many juveniles were rehabilitated and used their experiences to re-enter society as more positive and productive players. Massachusetts was just the first step, and now you can be a part of this change. Write to your congressman. Persuade them to adopt the plan that has already been proven successful. You can help create a nationwide shift in the way the country treats its youth. And also, donate as much money as you want to Maimonides School to help create more nationwide problem solving.